What's up, beautiful people? Jaquel Wimbush here, your host of Back to the Basics of Health and Wellness podcast and your certified holistic health and wellness coach. On today's show, I am talking to my brother, comrade, and classmate of Essex Catholic High School in East Stars, New Jersey. My man, Troy Wins, is here on the show. Let's get into it. I fight for my health every day in ways most people don't understand. I'm not lazy, I'm a warrior.
Daddy, it's time to start your podcast.
Hey Troy, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Very well, my brother. Considering everything that's going on today, I'm maintaining.
Good to hear. Guys, I have Troy Wins on the show. We are Essex Catholic graduates. We were in the same grade. We graduated together, and he's coming on the show. He's an Information and Referral Specialist dealing with mental health services. So today we are going to get into it about some mental health services that is needed in today's climate. So let's jump right on into it. How are you doing with everything that's going on in today's world, first and foremost?
Oh man. So I'm not excluded from anybody else that needs to check in or just have a time to just kind of reflect and refrain. But it's definitely it's a difficult day and time. I can say this is probably one of the most uncertain times we've experienced in recent history. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot going on.
Yeah.
And a lot going on for people emotionally and a lot going on for just people in general, just in their daily lives. So, man. Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty thick.
Yeah, for me as well, because as a health coach myself, I even had to seek out some services myself and get some counseling because it's just too much. And it's like we getting hit with a quadruple whammy. Like you got people out of work, you got the money situation, you got the COVID situation, you got the racial situation going on, which has been going on for a long time now. So, as far as with Black people in today's world, it's like we are dealing with a lot, and that's why I tell people all the time, seek out those services. Don't be afraid to just open up and be vulnerable and just talk to someone. And when people talk to people like yourself, you guys keep that to yourselves. Y'all not sharing that information so people could be open.
No. No. It's definitely something that we don't share. We don't violate people's confidentiality. So everything that's shared with us, stays between us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I think you hit it on the head when you use that operative word, vulnerable. And that's just a tough place in general for people to be. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times people do, and, this is just me speaking from my experience, most people do try to reach out for help. And a lot of times, when they do, sometimes it's not the right audience. So I often, when I speak with clients that call in, I try to just make them aware of, like a comedian, you have to, take the temperature of the room and, know your audience, kind of understand who you're speaking with, and that sometimes people are limited, and it does take that professional listening ear to help you sort of reflect and refrain.
Yes.
So yeah, man, it's, I mean, no better time for people today than now. No better time than now for, people to take, kind of check in on themselves.
Absolutely.
And then check in on each other, man, because, dialogue is, one of the first ways in which we begin to process, what it is that we're dealing with, what it is that we're feeling. And that's really like the hallmark of, therapy in itself, right? Being able to process, that raw emotion that you have, mm-hmm. And bring that to, your thinking part of the brain.
Yes.
You know, how do you begin to make that connection between, logic and, what you feel?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's really like, it's really a beautiful thing to happen when people start to realize that, they're making those connections.
Yeah.
But as you said, man, I think it's just a tough time, right? All of the security, the hierarchy of security right now it's all pretty much, fractured. People don't have that stability of income at this time, possibly. People having to, figure out what to do for food because they don't have enough money or finances.
Absolutely.
Right? People trying to deal with shelter because rent has to be paid, and life is still kind of going on. As we're living through this moment, this moment in time. So, all of those things are very real things that we all can relate to. And that happens. From a human level. So, in that respect, when I think about Black Lives Matters and what's going on right now with our community. People tend to paint it with, this, it's white and black and it's, sure, from a social construct, right? Because that's what race is. But on a bigger level, this is a humanitarian crisis.
Yes.
We're really talking about people opening up their hearts to another fellow human being. And trying to be able to, even if you don't understand, just be able to have the empathy and sort of say that I'm here to support you, however you need.
Love it.
So yeah, man, yeah. So this is what's going on out here, and this is pretty much what I'm doing every day. As an information and referral specialist here in Jersey.
Yes.
Just trying to make sure the people are all right.
Yep. Good to hear. That's beautiful. Everything you just said, bro. Everything.
Yeah.
So when like who calls in? Like what type of things are we dealing with right now?
So right now, just in the moment of time that we're in, we're seeing, a lot of people that's calling in who's either been, affected by the COVID virus, have had family members affected by the COVID virus, or either even, had, clients that I've spoken to have lost partners and family members. So there's a lot of, as I would say, there's a lot of grief, to be shared at this particular time. And grieving in the sense that, people are losing people personally.
Yes.
But then there's always that, there's, first and secondary trauma, and then that, tertiary trauma where, you realize that, you lose somebody even in your community, which is what we're all experiencing, with the loss of Floyd, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy was somebody that we knew personally, but, that trauma still affects us.
Yes.
And so, for me, that's what I'm getting on a daily basis, this sense of loss for people, whether it's, loss of someone personally or loss of finance, loss of a job, you all grieve those things. We all grieve those things. So, I think that's especially where people are right now, which is what makes this a pretty unique time. Which is why I think we have a lot of the fever pitch, people wanting to get out and do something, because people are more in tune with themselves now today than they've probably ever been.
Yes, sir.
Personally speaking from my experience.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are dealing with themselves right now.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah.
First time.
Facing those demons, facing all of the reality that goes on within itself. Yeah, and like you said, it's a lot of trauma that's taking place. You got trauma from the workplace. You got trauma from the shelter, like you said. You got trauma from dealing with the person inside your house. A lot of people are dealing with trauma with the wife, or the husband, or the significant other.
Domestic numbers are up, bro.
Yeah,
domestic numbers are up, man.
Yes.
Domestic violence, and that's verbal and physical. So
yes.
Yeah, it's up. It's definitely up there. So
yeah.
And I mean, all of the things that we normally have been able to cope with, and some people, and not having sports right now, right? You know, I mean, that's something that's like one of the, you know, higher hierarchies in our society, man, that, you know, we all, or, you know, most people participate in one way or another. And, you know, when to lose that, it's like, okay, you know, now what do I do? You know, now people are really, like you're saying, you know, really having to turn inward, you know, so it's no longer, the world is as existential as it used to be. You know, people are, you know, really looking at this thing introspectively, you know, going inside themselves and figuring out from inside how to deal with what's happening in the world. And that can be a scary place to go.
Yes.
You know?
That darkness.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the dark side.
Man.
Gotta go to the dark side.
Yeah. Well, man, I read a pretty interesting quote today, man, that, you know, I'll actually share with you, you know, on this podcast. You know, I try to keep myself surrounded by some pretty good people, man. But, you know, a quote I got in today, this morning, was, if everything around you seems dark, look again, because you may be the light.
Ooh,
and
that gave me chills,
you know,
bro. That gave me chills.
Yeah, that's a real right. That
wow.
touches as well, because you know, sometimes we do feel lost in the dark. Yes. You know, whether it's within ourselves, whether it's within our workspace, you know, careers, relationships, and stuff. And you know, in that darkness, you don't realize that you're carrying a light. You know, so you know, and that really, to me, just says, you know, trust yourself. Look within your heart, and you know, that'll lead the way for you. You know.
Yep. And trust those internal guidance, your internal guidance system. Listen to yourself. You know, listen to you know, listen to what those gut instincts, those feelings that you're having. You got to listen to that. Right. A lot of people like to throw that to the side and be like, you know, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with what I'm thinking versus what I'm feeling, and then that's when a lot of things just go out of whack.
You hit the nail on the coffin, brother. I mean, it's funny. I was just having this conversation with, you know, a good buddy of mine last night, and I was just explaining to him that, you know, a lot of people we get caught up in the idea of, you know, logic, and we get stumped sometimes when things seem illogical, because at the end of the day, we're feeling people. We feel first, you know, the thoughts that we frame around those feelings are, you know, things that, you know, personal experiences, things that people teach us, things that we learn from our environment. But at the end of the day, we must feel. Yeah, you know, like you're saying, man, you know, some people tend to, you know, throw those feelings to the side, you know, and that happens even like what you do nutritionally. You know, I know that a lot of times people don't realize, like, your body talks to you.
Yes.
You know, you have to be in tune with it to listen to what it's saying, right? So, you know, I hear sometimes, you know, folks say, "Hey, man, you know, I want to exercise, but I got to start eating right." No, you exercise, and your body will tell you what to eat.
Talk about it, Troy. Talk about it.
Yeah,
talk about it.
So, you know, so I mean, and I'm not saying that like to be like on my high horse or anything like that, because I'm a worker. It's a journey. At the end of the day, it's a journey that, you know, we all start at different points with, right? But take the journey is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know, start somewhere.
Yep.
You know, start your journey somewhere.
And we can't take I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just don't stand on the side of the road with your thumb up.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. There you go, man. There you go. Yeah. Your life is a journey, and you really have to feel the path. You got to feel it. You know. There you go. And people feel it, but they just ignore it, and they be like, you know what? But I heard such and such say this, but no, your internal guide is saying this. You do this. And that's what you have to go off of. And that's what I teach with my clients, is that, you know, dealing with food and losing weight. And, you know, I got the COVID-10 weight loss challenge coming up. And with that, the first 2 days is going to be mindfulness. You know, it's going to be it's all about mindfulness, and then we're going to get into the losing weight, because I like to get the mind right first, and then we move into, you know, the weight loss situations or whatever their goals may be. But first, we got to take care of the mind first. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's interesting that, you know, Western medicine is actually starting to move that way when we think about, like, different cancer treatments that's coming out now. You know, really, medicine is really starting to try to become more individualized, right? Because you realize people,
everyone's different.
Yes.
Right. Everyone feels something differently, and that speaks to, how our organic matter, how we, who we are, pretty much what our substance is. We're all made of the same properties, but, once we mix it together, it's never quite the same. It's all different. Right. So, it's really starting to be where, people have to just be more mindful and listen to their bodies to get the best results out of themselves, from a physical standpoint, and even from a mental standpoint too.
Yep, and that's what we call bio-individuality. What may be good for you may not be good for the next person, and that's why I do my consultations, and I feel I feel the person out. I see what's going on with them, and then that's how I come up with a program for that individual person. So yeah, that's what it all comes down to. Everybody, we all different. We may we may look the same, but we internally we are all different. Yeah. So, So when you talk to your clients and things like that, what are some of the things that you give them to as like homework, because we all even as adults we all still have homework to do. Like what type of homework do you give your clients to do when they get off the phone with you?
So for me, it's kind of like how you work with your clients. It's really a mindful thing, because I always explain to people what might work for you or your friend or someone else that it may not actually be something that works for yourself. Sometimes I get people who come to me and they talk about meditation, and meditation is a great tool, but meditation is not for everybody. So you have to listen to yourself and find out what it is. Be in tune with your own rhythm. Everybody's got a rhythm, right? And there's nothing wrong with taking on new tools. It's great to have, a diverse toolbox. But for the most part, like, we all have unique ways that we speak, that our body, and we speak to our bodies, right? And we have to just kind of figure what that's out for us. So, I mean, as far as homework goes, that's one of the things that I do make a point in, is just having people just pause, and that's kind of how I put it with them. Take the pause, feel what you need to feel for now, and then from there, let that guide you.
Yes.
And that'll help you process, what you need to process, or at least, give you some guidance, as to, what the next step would be.
Yeah, cool.
Probably the most common thing that I do is just really tell people to, sensory. A lot of times, we get caught up with what we feel. And sometimes we're always bombarding ourselves with so many thoughts and feelings at once. And that creates a sensory overload. It's like a computer. If you download 100 different files at once, you're probably going to have a problem. Right? So I always tell people like this, look, when you find yourself in trouble, take the time to feel, use your senses. What do you taste right now? What do you smell right now? What colors do you see? What objects are you looking at? Are they circles? Are they squares? And that really kind of, for me, at least, my intentions are is to get people back to center when I give them that homework tool, right? So they can ground themselves. Beautiful. So, that's probably one of the more common, techniques I give people, or, homework as they call it. And, people usually let me know how it works later for them. And I always tell people with homework is practice.
Yes.
Like anything in life, we build habits. Yeah. It may not work for you in that moment, but it's good to understand when it does work for you. That means that you have to keep doing it. So,
habits.
Yeah. So that's so pretty much that's in a nutshell, that's for the most part, that's something that I talk to clients about when I have that opportunity or when they're receptive to it.
Good. Yeah, habits are things that we need. Good habits are things that you have to build upon on a daily basis. Like for a weight loss person, just having a habit of making a smoothie every morning instead of having eggs and bacon. Create that habit, and then you'll see in a month you'll see results just from that one habit, you know, and that comes down to making the one lifestyle change that lasts, you know. So, yeah, man, yeah, and even
you could build anything in 30 days, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, and people just have to, you know, be receptive and open to take on that 30 days because, you know, a lot of us, we could do, you know, a lot of crazy stuff in 30 days and different things. But if we really sit back and make the habit and really do it, you know, for the first 5 days. And then you do it again for the next 5 days. And you be like, okay, now this is starting to become routine. And then boom, then you have a habit. And then now you're seeing differences and changes in your life. Yep. So excellent.
Yeah. What I might add to that, I might tell people, you know, don't be afraid of failure, because failure is a part of the process. You know, so a lot of times we try things and we fail it once or twice and then we're like, oh, it doesn't work. No, that's a part of the process. Keep failing. Keep failing until you figure something out that does work. Right? So, you know, that's one of the keys, you know, at least in my opinion, you know, to, you know, accomplishing any goal for that matter. You know, just got to be able to have that expectation that you will fail along the way. And you may fail multiple times. Yeah. Right?
And failure is the growth too. It's the growth.
Yeah.
It's the growth process.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, that's a big part of it. And then just, you know, I always try to remind folks just to reframe when they can. You know, understand when you're creating negative energy for yourself. The words that you use are very powerful. You know, I remember hearing when I was growing up, like the pen is mightier than the sword. And it actually is, man. Words are the most powerful thing that you can use in your life. You know, with anything. You know, because what you tell yourself is what will, you know, eventually come to fruition.
Yeah, it's the whole build and destroy. You can build with the words, or you could destroy yourself with words. You could say, you know, I'll try to do this. No, let's just do it. You know, let's just do it, or I might do it. No, just do it. Yeah.
I'm practicing that in my daily life.
I am too.
Yeah, big time.
Yep,
big time.
Yeah. So at the closeout of this, a very you know, excellent podcast, might I add. Thank you, sir.
Man.
What thank you. What advice would you give to close this out? What advice would you give to people in today's world and with all that we are going through?
So, you know, the advice I would give to people, I mean, if it was like just one thing that I would absolutely just say, is just continue to love yourself. Because the more you love yourself, you know, the more you'll love others, and you'll build that muscle of compassion. So, you know, in a time right now where it seems like it's very hard to love is when we most need it. So right now, you know, do what you can to love yourself up good, love your family up good. Because in turn, you know, that energy will be expelled in the universe, and, you know, you'll start to see that love return to you.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Ladies.
So, yeah, man. That's what I got for you, brother.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Troy Wins, your information and referral specialist on the mental health side of things. Thank you for coming on, then. Thank you for giving those good words. I appreciate it. I think everybody appreciate everything that you just said. And we will definitely check back in on another podcast to you know, see where we at on the other side of this corona pandemic, you know, racial situations that we're dealing with in America, man. I appreciate this very intense talk. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. I'm here for you, man. Whenever you need, man. I love being able to share, and the dialogue helps me, you know, as much as it helps, you know, who it might help. So, yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're very welcome, and we'll definitely have you on again. All right, man. I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon. Have a great one, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good one. Wow, that was a beautiful episode right there. Back to the basics of health and wellness podcast, as I talked to my brother Troy Wins about mental health and what we're dealing with in today's world with racism and the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, during this episode, man, I really felt the chills, and it definitely resonated within me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I thank you all for tuning in to today's episode. Again, my man Troy Wins came in. Woo! Thank you, brother. I appreciated that talk. I appreciate you as a person and a human being, and helping people out there with their illnesses and trying to get back on track. Until next week, enjoy, be well, and make a lifestyle change that lasts. Have a great one, everybody. Talk to you soon.